have, thankfully, I do have paid products that have these pitch templates. I didn't come here to pitch my paid products to you, by the way. However, what you can do, right, decide who you want to work with. So for instance, I'm a freelance writer, and I decided that I wanted to work with healthcare companies. So what I decided to do was I would reach out, I would find out people that work in the healthcare space. So I decided, and it took me a little while to decide, but I decided I wanted to work with people that owned home care companies and people that owned health technology companies. Okay, these two types of companies. And so on LinkedIn, I started building connections with these people. So I literally go on LinkedIn and type in CEO home care or CEO health technology company. And I started connecting with these people online. Once I did that, I started building connections with them. Then I would have a right, because I don't believe in just, you just connect with somebody on LinkedIn and then you start selling to them. And then it would give me some kind of leeway because I've already put on my LinkedIn profile that I'm a freelance writer for healthcare companies. And then it will give me some leeway to like reach out to these people and let them know that these are the services that I offer. So the first thing I would say is, first of all, you have to be in a place, right? You have to choose a platform or be in a place where people can see you. That's the first thing. Number two, you have to decide who you want to work with. If you don't know who you want to work with, that's your problem, right? That's a problem to begin with. So know who you want to work with. I knew that I wanted to work with healthcare based companies because my educational background is in healthcare. So once I decided that the CEOs were going to be the best people to reach out to in order for me to do that. And so I searched for them on LinkedIn, started building relationships with them. And then when you get to the point where you send out an email, you say something like, hello, my name is so-and-so. All right. So I hope you're writing this down. So hello, my name is so-and-so. I provide, and I tend to reach out to people that are in my local area because I live in San Diego. And if you don't know about San Diego is really, really rich in healthcare providers and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm going to answer your question, Stephanie. Healthcare providers and stuff like that. So what ends up happening is that I reach out to local people in the local area. So usually I just say that my name is G, I'm in the local area and I'm a freelance writer. And I was just wondering if you have any writing needs. And so you can do the same thing. That's all. I just gave that to you. Okay. You can just do the same thing. Hey, babe. What's up? You can do the same thing and look out for the types of people you want to work with, right? And then send them an email. So go follow them on Twitter, go follow them on LinkedIn, wherever you want to follow them, build relationships with them, and then follow that up. In a few weeks, follow that up with, hey, my name is Alicia. I am a social media manager, specifically for millennial companies that want to reach millennials. This is my these are the services I offer. And I was just wondering if you need some social media management services. That's it. Okay. So that's the answer to that. Hi, Candice. Okay, great. So for YouTube, Stephanie has a great question. Stephanie says, you talked about reaching out to CEOs. Are there other positions in these companies you'd recommend connecting with? Yes, marketing managers or communications managers. Yes. So if you yes, absolutely. So the CEOs are not always the best people to reach out to. So sometimes what I do is, if I reach out to a CEO, I'll put it in the email, a sentence that goes like, if there is somebody else in your company better suited to receive this email, could you please connect me with them? Right? A lot of the time people will ignore you, but that's the thing about pitching. Pitching is a numbers game. All right. Selling is a numbers game. Selling is basically how many people you're able to reach versus how many people you're able to convert. The more people you're able to reach, the more you'll be able to convert. If you're using the right sales techniques anyway, right, the more people you'll be able to convert. But if you don't have the right sales technique or you don't write the right email, people will just throw that in the trash. But yes, so Stephanie, yes, to answer your question, yes, companies, marketing managers and communication managers can also be contacted for these opportunities. If you're a web designer, you may want to reach out to people like, yes. So a lot of the time, that a lot with a lot of the freelancing, the marketing directors are point people that you want to talk to. So same idea, go on LinkedIn, type in marketing managers for healthcare companies. Seriously, I'm not even kidding you. I did this once, and I think I added maybe 100 new connections that were my ideal clients, right? I just went on LinkedIn, typed in CEO of home care company, CEO of health technology company. I got a whole list. I started sending out connection requests. Now they are in my network because I am a because I do market myself as a writer for healthcare and health technology. Now people know me. Just this year, like from the beginning of this year till now, I've gotten 2 of my major clients just from just from connections on LinkedIn. So I'm telling you, it's powerful. And these are contracts that were worth thousands of dollars, right? So LinkedIn is a powerful, any platform that you use correctly is a powerful platform. Okay, so that's what I can say for that. Okay, great. So I think I answered those 2 questions. Early teaching, I wanted you to actually ask questions so that I can answer that. So yeah, I would say make LinkedIn your friend, but I know not everybody jives with LinkedIn, so I'm not going to force that down anybody's throat. All right. Also, you can always go on, for those of us that are writers, because I primarily write, I can say this. You can go on Google. So apart from a place like LinkedIn, you can go on Google and then type in, let's say you want to write for, I don't know, let me think of some obscure topic, but you want to write for, I don't know, some kind of company. You just type in the type of company you want to write for, and then you write publications that pay. So for instance, if you want to write in the sports niche, you would put sports publications that pay in Google. You will come up with a ton of results sharing with you, guess what? Sports publications that pay. So that's also another trick. Okay, I'm still taking questions. All right, so let's see. All right. I don't know. Can you guys hear me? Because it seems like everybody is frozen both on Instagram and YouTube. Let me know. Okay, so I guess I'll just wait for you to type in any other questions you have. Another, do you help with selling products? So selling products is not my expertise. Selling products is definitely not my expertise. I do have my own digital products, but what question did you have about? If you have questions about digital products, I can try to answer those, but that is not my expertise. Oh, you're just listening. Okay, so let me know what type of products you want to sell, because anything to do with e-commerce, anything to do with lots of sales. Even though I have digital products, like I don't feel like I'm an expert with digital products. I think I'm an expert at, or somewhat an expert at freelancing, working from home, creative entrepreneurship. So, okay, let me before I get another question on here, let me also say this, that a lot of people are confused about working from home, right? They're not sure, because we're all used to like office hour jobs, office jobs where we check in, right? Okay, so I see a few questions coming in. I'll hold on. Do you get leads as a freelance writer from your personal website? No, I do not personally. I know it works for some other people. I do still have a website. That's a good question, Candice. I'll talk about that. And then Catherine, I see your question. So I don't advertise my personal website a whole lot, just because I've gotten comfortable with sending out pitches to the people that I want to work with. I've had people just organically find me on a place like LinkedIn and try to reach out to me. So there's definitely that, right? Now, that regardless, I think that you need to have a website as a freelancer. It's important, right? And it doesn't have to be a complicated website. It just needs to be, and I wish I could show you, I can't show you right now because I don't have abilities to screen share on Instagram or on YouTube. But if you go to, you can go to nontrahealthwriting.com. That's my website for my writing business, nontrahealthwriting.com, and see how I set it up. It's not complicated. I just have a front page. The front page says, "Welcome to Nontra Health Writing," something of that sort. I have a short video. All right. I have a short video and I introduce my business. And then I say, these are the types of people that I work with. And this is what I do. That's also really important. Every time as a freelancer, right? Don't make people confused. Don't make people guess about your business. As soon as they land on your website or LinkedIn, right? Or Instagram or whatever it is that you have as a front facing material, you want to tell them exactly what you offer. If I'm confused about what you offer, I'm going to find somebody that's clear. All right. So this is where it's so important for you to be clear on exactly who you serve. So let them know, who do you serve? So I'm always really like adamant about that. Who do you serve? I serve health technology and healthcare companies. I'm very clear about that. What do you do to serve us? I write blog posts and white papers and all this kind of stuff for you. And I say that in that video. So immediately they land on my website. They're not confused as to who I am and what I do. Then I have another page that has my portfolio or has samples of my work. This is also another important piece to your business, right? Have a page on that website that has samples to your work. Okay. You can even go to blogspot.com. I don't recommend it, but go to Blogspot or Wix, get a free website, okay, and have links to work that you've already created. You need that. You don't let anybody tell you don't need that. You need that because when you do, once a while, I do have people say, even though I pitch people or people find me on LinkedIn, I do have people that say, could you send me samples of your work? Well, I don't have to go searching for samples of my work. I have samples of my work curated on my website. So I just send them the link to that and they can click all those links, and those links are live on the internet. It's not something I hide. I've published for websites that are live on the internet, so they can go check that out. All right. So you as a freelancer, whether you're writing, whether you're doing social media management, needs to provide proof. Whether even if that means it's your own work, right? When I started out as a social media manager, I hadn't managed anybody's social media before, but I was able to show my clients that I had built up my own social media presence. And because of that, I got hired. So have some proof. You can't tell me you're a social media manager, but you do not know how to create engaging content on social media. Or you can't tell me you're a writer and I can't find a single piece of content that you've written, even whether that's for your own blog. Okay. So that's important. Okay. I'll take Catherine's question, and a few of you, I'll take your questions here. Okay. So Catherine says, as a new freelancer, I do have a desired niche, but I would be happy to get a gig. So my existing content doesn't always relate. Should my samples be created specifically to each gig? So the answer to that question is that not necessarily. Right. So she's talking more about for writers. Like if you want to write for a particular niche, does it have to be in that niche? And my answer to that question is it's better if it is. Okay. It's better if it is, but if it's not, that's not a bad thing either. At least you have something. All right. At least you have something. So don't be afraid to showcase that until, I hope that answers your question. So it's not a bad thing, right? It's not a bad thing to get the gig, but I think that it's helpful for you to create content in that particular niche. Okay. Okay. So let's see. So I think I answered Candace's question. So no, I don't get a lot of clients, but from my personal website. But what I do use my website for is I send it to clients so that they can see the work I've done. So that it's important in that regard. So I think it's important for you to have a website regardless of whether you're using it for clients or not, because it still comes in handy. People still go to my website and say, hey, I read this link, and I'm like, wow, they already checked me out, because I do have the link on LinkedIn. Okay. So, okay. So let me answer this question, because I think people get confused about that. So currently I teach part-time at a community college, right? I teach part-time at a community college. I wasn't working at a traditional job for the last almost 2 years. So I was in community college opportunity, a job. So I do teach at I teach biology at a community college, all right, which is a lot of fun, because, I love freelancing, but I kind of needed a change of pace a little bit. So this is my change of pace. This is my little change of pace. All right. So I do teach at a community college, and then I freelance. So freelancing is still a central part of my life. Now, to answer your question about can you sustain doing freelancing full time, I think the answer to that question is it depends on you, right? It depends on you. So welcome to all those coming in. Hey. Let me just wave at you all. I woke up not too long ago, and so my whole place isn't sorry. Anyway, so back to answering your question. I think that freelancing is amazing, right? I think freelancing is amazing. I've done it for a really long time. I've been freelancing since 2015. So I've entered my 5th year of freelancing. I enjoy it as an income source and as a way to support my family. And freelancing has done a lot for me. And that's why I have a whole YouTube channel about it. Now you have to know your situation, right? You have to know your situation and what you can handle. I don't believe in hustling, and working yourself to death. I don't believe in that culture at all. Okay, at all. I believe that there should be some time for you to have family and for you to enjoy your life. Like, what's the point of working and not enjoying the money? There's no point to it. So I do believe that you should be able to have your money and enjoy it. So I say that as long as it depends on you and as long as you can manage it, you can figure that out on your own, right? If you can't do it, there are things I've had to cut out recently because my plate was just so full. Okay. My plate was just so full. And so you have to decide what you can handle and what you can handle. And that is completely dependent on you. Don't try to be like anybody else. I promise you, friends, do not try to be like anybody else. Just try to be you. So I hope that's helpful. Okay. Now, Proma has a question on here that says, hi, I want to take freelancing as a career. I want to take up projects in digital marketing. Can you tell me some freelancing sites other than Upwork or Fiverr? Personally, I don't use Upwork or Fiverr, and so I do not know any. I don't even engage myself in that business. I don't use Upwork or Fiverr. I don't highly recommend it either, because on Upwork or Fiverr, and if you're enjoying this, please make sure on YouTube, make sure to give this a thumbs up if this is helpful. If you're on Instagram and this is helpful, give it a thumbs up as well. So I don't find Upwork or Fiverr helpful, so I don't use it. I do know that there are websites like freelancer.com. I know that there are websites. I'm really at a loss. Even you can go on Craigslist and Indeed.com, and it depends on where you are, which country you're in. But Craigslist and Indeed.com may have that. I personally believe in pitching people directly and not depending on Fiverr or Upwork. I think you should pitch people directly to get those gigs. So that's just my opinion. I think it's a great thing. You want to be a freelancer as a career, and digital marketing pays really, really well if you find the right clients. But I don't think you should go on Fiverr or on Upwork. You should only use Fiverr or Upwork if, let's say, you're super brand new and somehow your pitches are not working and you want to get your feet wet still and you don't mind getting paid peanuts. because that's how I view these platforms, Upwork and Fiverr. I never found them helpful, and I always found them draining. So that's just my opinion. Okay. Okay. So any more questions? Let me see. So Pastor V Paul says we construction a church but have no funds. This is not the this is not the live stream for that. All right. I appreciate you reaching out, but this is not the live stream for that. Okay. Even though I'm very much a church person. All right. Okay, so that's my answer to that question. Now, I did want to, before, sorry, Janelle, I didn't answer your question. So like bracelets, I think your question was, how about selling things online like bracelets? Once again, I'm not an expert. I don't want to give you bad advice, right? So I never give advice on things that I myself haven't done or haven't done super successfully. All right. So the best thing I can say, Janelle, is that you can, because I don't know that industry, you can look up people that sell online and see what they are saying with regards to selling physical products online, because I feel like that's a whole different category with a lot for you to, what's it called? A lot for you to learn about. So yeah. All right. Okay. Now I was going to say, so I can't answer the question fully. So now I was going to say that if you are working from home in this season, right? A lot of us are quarantined. A lot of us are at home. I will say that one of the things that can help you overcome that feeling of, oh, I'm indoors, and because as a freelancer, I felt like this. When you wake up in the morning, right? Go take a shower and get dressed. I'm telling you, it does wonders for you as a freelancer. So a lot of the time I'll wake up in the morning. I work from home. I've been working from home for a long time. So I'll wake up in the morning and I don't laze about. I treat it as seriously as I would treat it if I was to go into somebody's office. Okay. So I will wake up, I will take a shower, I will put on my makeup, I will fix my hair. I will do all the things that I would do if I was going to somebody's office. Okay. Once that's done, I come and say, this is my desk. I come and sit at my desk and I start working. So one of the things I have, all right, I have a calendar right here. This is my 2020 calendar. All right. So I have this calendar, and in this calendar, I know people make fun of me for this calendar, but essentially I write down what I want to do in every single day. So for those on YouTube, I write down what I want to do every single day and I cross them out. Okay. So I will come here, and because this is already on my desk, I'll come and then I'll look at what I have going on for today. And I'll say, okay, I need to, so like yesterday, even though yesterday was Sunday, I wanted to edit my website. I wanted to edit a podcast episode, and I wanted to write some posts for my clients. So I wrote that down. If you don't write it down, I find that you begin to struggle. You begin to struggle because you sit down at your computer and there's so many distractions. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's YouTube, there's Instagram stories, there are all these things. And it can be easy to get sucked into all of these things. So what I do instead is I'll write down what I'm supposed to do. If I can write it the night before, I'll do that. I'll write it down in my calendar here. All right. And as you can see, I have this whole page. This was last week. Those on YouTube may not see it, but this was last week. Okay. This was last week. And so I went through and actually crossed things out. So I will write down. Yes, paper planners are fun, right? Paper planners are fun. So I would sit down and then actually write these things down. So decide, like at the beginning, today is Monday, right, guys? So at the beginning of the week, what do you want to achieve by the end of the week, right? So write that down. Once you write that down, break that into daily tasks. Break that down to daily tasks, right? So I knew that this week there was a particular client I needed to finish their content because even though their project has dragged on for a little bit. It's kind of their fault as well, but their project kind of dragged on for a little bit, and I wanted to make sure that this week, like today, I had something for them. So I put it in. If I don't put it in, I'm going to forget. I also use Google Calendar quite a bit. So with Google Calendar, I'll put in my appointments. So like today, I have a doctor's appointment for my son. I'll put in appointments that I have elsewhere. I teach at a community college, like I said, part-time, it's not full-time. So I will also put that into my calendar so that I know when I'm teaching and things like that. So appointments and in-person things, I put that in my Google Calendar. Any task I have to do in a given day, I put that on my paper calendar. And then I follow that so that I get work done. So I hope that's helpful. So when you wake up in the morning, don't just kind of like bounce around or Netflix and chill. Okay. You still can be super productive even at home. So go take a shower. I know it sounds so elementary, but go take a shower, get dressed up. All right. Write what you want to do down for the day and then do it. All right. I hope that's helpful. All right. So Catherine has a question here. She says, what platforms do you prefer to showcase your sample content? I'm not sure. Could you clarify your question? Are you talking about which website, platform I use, or social media platforms? I don't necessarily showcase my work on social media platforms, but if you could clarify that question. Oh, hey, Akidela. Yeah, I'm glad that you're finding it helpful. I'm glad you're finding it helpful. I'll take some more questions. So clarify the question, Catherine, because I want to answer that. If you're talking about websites, then I do use a WordPress hosted website. A WordPress hosted website. Now, what that is you can go to, I use SiteGround. You can use my link. If you want to use my link to get that, it's an affiliate link. You can let me know. I'll send you the link. Or I'll draw. I think on YouTube I have the link. So for the people on YouTube, you can just click the link. But you can use SiteGround, and then once you get hosting, you would download WordPress onto it. And WordPress is fairly well. I don't want to say fairly simple because it is fairly simple, but it's not fairly simple for everybody. So in that case, you could use something like Wix. I've used Wix before. It's okay. It's okay. But I didn't enjoy it. There's Squarespace. I use WordPress because that's what I've used for almost 10 years. And that's what I've built my personal website on. So that's something that you can do. I don't know if that's the question that you're asking. All right. Let me see. Okay. Any more questions? A question I get a lot is how to get started and I'll answer that question, how to get started with freelancing in general, right? How to get started with that. And I'll say that to get started with freelancing in general, right? I would say for you to decide what it is that you want to do. I know that's a very vague answer. I think I have a video on YouTube. Yeah, I do. I have a video on YouTube where I talk about, I think, 7 skills that you can turn into a freelance business. Okay. It's on my channel. So if you do not know what to offer right now, like you do not know what to offer, sorry, I say go watch that video. When you watch that video, I talk about writing, I talk about social media management, I talk about photography, I talk about videography and video editing. I can't remember all the other ones that I talked about, but I do talk about them. So choose one of those. Now, when you choose one of those, I always say you don't have a business until you have clients. You don't have a business, like I see this all the time. You don't have a business until somebody is paying you. Okay. So don't get caught up in the fluffy, pretty pictures on Instagram. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I used to be this way where I'd create content and create content and create content and then wonder why people were not paying me. Okay. I'd be wondering, why am I creating all this free content? I'm posting all these pretty pictures. I'm posting all this content to Facebook. and nobody is paying attention. And that was because I wasn't making an offer. I wasn't actually making sales, right? So it's important for you to actually make sales. And in making sales, that's what I talked about earlier on with pitching. Go and find the people that you want to work with. And I know that's also another thing. So, for instance, if you're a photographer, and let's say you already got your DSLR camera, what kind of photography do you want to do? Do you want to work with newborns and people that just had babies? Then you can start posting on your Instagram that you are a newborn photographer. But what I would do personally is I would also start telling everybody within my personal circle that I am a newborn photographer. People always underestimate the power of their own circle, right? They underestimate that. So your own circle is really, really powerful. Talk to them, because you see, your own circle of friends. When I started, right, a lot of people that are my personal friends and are my personal acquaintances are the first people that brought me work. And I think I interviewed Stephanie Perry on my podcast, and she also said the same thing, that one of her very, very first clients was somebody that she knew. And Stephanie is amazing. If you don't, she's vicarious here on Instagram, and she travels the world, right, and works from everywhere in the world. So she's even better. And she was on the broadcast earlier, so she's even in a better position to talk to you about digital nomad life, working from anywhere in the world, right? And that was exactly what she told me too. And I've talked to other freelancers, regardless of what they do, whether it's photography or writing or whatever, and it's the same conversation. You tell the people you know first. So tell your friends and family. A lot of them are going to ignore you, but guys, by this point, you should be ignoring what friends and family think about you. Okay, it's important that I mean, you still have to love them and all of that, but realize that friends and family are not on the same path as you, and so they will not always be fully supportive of your business. This is just the truth. People get offended when friends and family don't support their businesses, but that's the truth. 99% of them will not, but there will be a percentage that takes your business seriously and wants to support you. And that's been true in my case, where a lot of people just ignore me, or sometimes people will just be like, what are you doing? What is this? Sometimes people look at you like you're crazy, and I don't really care. The most important thing is, I'm telling people, if people come across, and here's the thing that happens, if those people come across other people that need your services, guess who they're going to tell? They're not going to find some stranger from somewhere. No, they're going to say, oh, wait, I have a friend, I have a cousin who actually does this stuff. I never understood what she really did, but now that you're saying it, I think she can help you. And literally, this is how I've gotten some clients, right? It's just by friends and family telling other people that, oh, Gertrude does this, so you can talk to her, you know? So don't, in your quest to build your freelance business, or to build any business at all, don't be afraid to tell your friends and family as well. All right. Any more questions? Well, we're almost coming up on the 40-minute mark on this live. And I appreciate everybody that came in and everybody that has questions. If you do have extra questions after this live, you can reach out and chat with me and let me know like what's going on. But I also want you to know, like, find ways to reduce your anxiety. It looks like we're going to be in our own little bubbles for a few weeks. And a lot of people's plans have changed. People have had to cancel their travel plans. Some of you probably have had to cancel vacation. Kids are home, and one of the things I was kind of grateful about was, well, now that school is canceled and everything, that I'm in a flexible enough position to be there for my son. But I kept on thinking about the moms and dads that don't have that flexible position, that may be losing their jobs, and I think that this makes a strong point for, and this is not to shade anybody, this is not to shame anybody, that is not where this is coming from at all. Like, I right now, my heart goes out to so many parents that are affected by this. But what I want to say is I think this strengthens the point that you have to set up your own thing. I think this whole crisis really, and yes, even I've lost a client, like not fully lost, but I've had projects put on hold currently because of this whole situation, right? But the great thing is that those clients are not going anywhere. They're going to come back. They're going once things settle down. I am confident that they're coming back, and they're coming back with full force. All right. So I'm not even bothered. I still have clients who are going to pay me. I still have clients who are going to be here. All right. So I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to God for that. But the point I'm trying to make, I think this makes the point for the fact that you need your own thing, and you need to start thinking about it. And apart from thinking about it, I think you should implement, because I've seen so many people that say, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, but they don't take the action. Like I said, with freelancing, the only thing that matters is how many people you pitch and how many people you convert. If you're doing all the other things, and I know that posting, I'm going to answer your question, Alex. I know that posting on Instagram it looks sexy and all these other things, but that is not going, if that you haven't proven that as a sales method, it's not going to get you clients. Okay. So start doing some of the things I already said on this live stream. Get on LinkedIn, search for your ideal clients, build relationships with them, pitch them, go on Google, search for places where you can work. I already gave you 3 tips. Mix in here. Tell your friends and family. All right. I also have multiple videos on YouTube you can check out regarding this getting clients thing. Okay. So Alex says, does having a guest post on a big blog help with exposure? Exposure, man. Let me answer that question. So yes and no. Yes and no. The reason I'm saying yes and no, I think initially it could help, especially if there are a lot of people reading that blog. I think it could help. And definitely it could help people come over from wherever they are to your website. Okay. So I definitely think that there's some value there. And also, as a writer myself, one thing that guest blogging has done for me is that it's given me samples. So I definitely use those samples to get work. I've done this for years. Okay. So I think that where guest blogging shines is that it gives you, if you don't have your own blog, like I've known people that don't have their own blogs, but have guest published on so many other people's websites that now they are well known. Right. So I think that there's some value to it. Now, I've also had the experience of publishing on a big website, and it did absolutely nothing for me. Zero. Okay. So I think that because I've had both experiences, I can say yes or no. And personally, these days, I put more emphasis on creating my content and on creating my clients' content that I get paid for, rather than being featured on a big popular blog. Big popular blogs are okay. Most of the time, you don't get paid for them. However, it can be good, but don't be surprised. And also in 2020, I don't know if people are reading blogs as much. Even I've heard big, like I heard somebody like Pat Flynn, right, who has been in the game for a really, really long time. I was listening to his podcast recently, and he was saying blogging is not as powerful as it used to be. And I think in the 2010s it was super powerful, but the last 2 years I haven't seen it be as powerful. Okay. All right. Hello to everybody joining in. Okay, so then Catherine's question. Okay, so if someone asks you for samples and you say you will get back to them, how long is an appropriate timeline? A week? A week is a long time. I would get that back to them in a day or less. A week is a long time. A week, in that week, they could be finding other writers. In that week where you are getting prepared, they could hire a writer in 24 hours. You want to be that person. You want to be the one they hire. So, okay, let me just wave people. So what I would say is that that's why it's important for you to have samples ready, right? So whether that's and going back to Alex's question, if you wanted to publish to big blogs as your way of building some credibility because you don't have your own blog yet, that is okay. You can use that as samples of your work. But I would send it immediately. Somebody says, G, the overachiever. I am a little bit of an overachiever. I think you did you kind of captured my personality there. I'm very much well, yeah. In a lot of areas. In some areas I underachieve massively. But I think when it comes to my work, I try to be an overachiever because it's important for me to survive. Okay. So Catherine, I would say, listen, girl, send out those samples immediately. Don't a week is too long. They moved on. They have moved on. Trust me. They've moved on. Just based on experience. And that's my hobby. For those on Instagram, they're not going to see it, but for those on YouTube, he just poked his head in there. All right. How many samples do you need? Okay, so I think most of these questions are now gearing towards freelance writing. So I would say that even if you have 3 samples, you're good. When I started pitching people for gigs, I may have had 3 samples, 3 or 4. I had written a guest post for at that time the blog was called Basic Blogging Tips, I think. Then Basic Blogging Tips. Then I think I wrote for 99 Designs, the company 99 Designs. And I got paid for that. That was a guest post I got paid for. It was so exciting. Then I don't think they pay anymore. Then I wrote for Grasshopper, which is also another, Grasshopper is a communications company. And so I got in touch with them also and did that. So at that point, I just had those, and then I had my blog. I had my blog that I had been writing on. So between those guest posts and then my blog, like, we got a lot accomplished. All right. So that's how many samples I had. But I would say even if you have 3 samples, that's good. If you have your own blog, you can use it as your whole sample. If you have even written, call it, like I wrote papers in my PhD. All right. For those of you that may not know, I know maybe this is where the overachiever comes in. I did get a doctorate in microbiology and immunology just for kicks. I'm kidding. I got that for real. And they're published on, in journals. So for my healthcare clients that I'm trying to reach, I do, or for those clients that are more scientifically inclined, I share that with them. And they're like, oh, well, she has published papers with her name on it. So that's also extra credibility. So if you have anything like that, you could also showcase that as well. But I think just 3 of them should help. All right. Okay. These have been some fantastic questions. And as I kind of, well, I'll give it 10 more minutes and then that will bring it squarely to an hour. But during this season, I think it's also good for you to find ways to reduce your anxiety because there's a lot of anxiety in the news. And this is not for everybody on here listening to me and those who may watch on the replay, but it may be necessary for you to unplug a little bit from social media and unplug a little bit from the news. And I know that sounds like it's counter advice, but I found it to be super helpful that just unplugging from all the negative voices is healthy for me. Because to be honest, yesterday I was scrolling through Twitter and I was beginning to get a headache. And I was like, this is unproductive. This is not helpful. This is not getting me anywhere closer to where I need to get. And, yes, my clients I have a client that has put a project on hold. My, teaching is canceled right now, except for I can teach online, but that's on the same thing as teaching in person. And I'm having to adjust my whole curriculum to teaching online, and it's really uncomfortable. And then people are throwing like, oh, the numbers are now this and this many people are now dead, and I'm like, I feel like that's all important information that we should know, but I don't think you should expose yourself 24/7 to it. Do not, or else you will get sick. And anxiety, research has shown that anxiety can cause heart problems. Okay, it can cause depression. Anxiety can lead to other other diseases, right? So don't put yourself in that place where you are literally making yourself sick from fear and anxiety. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. So some of us may just need to, like, after this live stream, go. I think this is a good time for you to read some books. It's a good time for you to strengthen your social media presence. It's a great time to start pitching. It's a great time for you to sit down and think and define what you want to do, because the next 5 years are going to be crucial, right? The next 5 years, I'm telling you, the next 5 years are going to be crucial to your own life. So it's a great time for you to sit down and dream and sit down and write and sit down and say, and finally say, the book I want to write, the thing I want to write, this I want to do, I'm going to finally do it. And not hesitate, so that we're going to come out of this, by the way, but when we come out of it, at the other end, you would have positioned yourself, to really do well. So when I was in the US, and a lot of you from my accent know, I'm not originally from the United States of America. I am Ghanaian. I moved here when I was 20 years old, and I've been in the US for this year will be 17 years. Okay. So I've lived almost half of my life here now. But when 2008 and 2009 hit, I was in the US. When the economy went into recession, all right, I was here. I was right here. All right. So Patricia, I see your question. I'll answer it. All right. All right. Great. Um, yes, I was in the US, all right, and things were pretty bad. Things were pretty bad, okay? Those who lived through it know it. Things were bad. And um but then I remember thinking, you know what? I'm going to overcome. So this will end, just for the people on YouTube, you're fine. But for the people on Instagram, it looks like you can only go live for an hour. So this will end in a minute and 40 seconds. If it does, I'll go live again. Okay, so you can rejoin, you can tell your friends about this and then join in. But when 2008, 2009 hit, I was in this country. It was pretty bad. Things went crazy, right? But I also know people who during that period took advantage of how the economy was and bought homes, right? Because at that time, interest rates were really low. So they bought homes and they ended up using those as rental properties. And when the market came back and things went back to normal, they were kind of on top, because they had instead of taking in the things, or worrying about the things they could not control, they found things that they could, which some of those things would include your mindset, your ability to do things, your skill. Nobody's going to be able to take your writing skills away from you, or your social media skills away from you. Nobody is going to do that. All right. So just a minute. I'm going to end the live stream on Instagram. I'm just going to go live again on Instagram. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm going to go live on Instagram again, guys. So just give me a minute. We'll continue talking. So Patricia, your question is a good one. So just hold on. Hi, Patricia. So Patricia says, hi G, I started freelance writing service this month. Great job. And I wrote my article on LinkedIn. Meditation is nourishment for your health and wellness. Only have my LinkedIn account. Read article. I'm not sure. What do you mean? You want me to read the article? Let me know. Let me know what you mean, Patricia. Okay, let me know what you mean. All right, so I think that this is a great time. And 2000, so I saw 2008 and 2009, how that happened. And things were pretty dire in the country. People lost their homes, people lost their jobs. And back then I didn't know what I know now, but I did try to not get myself sucked up into the hysteria that was going on and try to find ways to make my life better. It was during that time that I decided that I would go get a PhD because at the time I couldn't literally not get a job. Like there are whole other reasons why I couldn't get a job, but I literally couldn't get a job. So I ended up saying, you know what, instead of being bummed out about this, instead of crying over spilt milk, over things I can't control, how about doing things I can? I can go back to school. And I went back to school. It ended up being a really great move for me to go back to school because now it's opening doors for me. So I made a decision during that season to do something different. It wasn't the path I was originally going to go on, but I did that. And once I did that, it's helped me in my life now. Actually, it's really, really helped me that I got that PhD. So you don't have to go get a PhD like I did, but at least at this time I think it is a great time for you to really think and dream and plan and decide on what am I going to do. And I that's why I did this live stream. And I'm gonna try to see if I can do this on a daily basis so that I can continue to answer questions and talk to people, even if it's just to like hang out so that we work together, like have a virtual work session. If you want that, let me know. But even if it's just to have a virtual work session, I'm more than happy to do that so that we can help each other out. All right. So if that is all the questions, I think, Patricia, I was waiting on you to clarify what you meant by your requests. I'll end right here on Instagram. Then I would, all right. Well, this video will be up, and so you definitely can comment. If you like this video, please, for those of you who are on here, if you haven't already liked it, please hit the thumbs up button. It really, really does help. It's just a small request I ask of you. So please do that. And then if there are any questions, please feel free to ask me here on YouTube. There's a community tab. I did put up a poll yesterday. You can go check that out and then ask me questions. You can also DM me on my Instagram, which the handle is @GNontra. So you can do that as well. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can reach me there as well. So I hope this was somewhat helpful to you. All right. So yeah, Patricia says, yes, everyone, please read Building My Writing Business and Writing Skills, using my LinkedIn account to build my writing business until I can move to the next step. Right. So that's a great move, Patricia, that you actually started on LinkedIn. And I think, yay, I think, you've been on my lives before and we talked about this. Like, even if you don't have a website, like start on LinkedIn, start somewhere. You have to start somewhere to win. So that's great. All right. Well, this was fantastic. And we will talk soon. Let's keep on helping each other. All right. Take care.